Procedural clouds in Chaos Corona allow us to add clouds to our skies in just one click. HDRIs are great, but with clouds you can create any type of sky you want, as well as time lapses with minimal effect on render time. So we're going to start looking at how we can add and customize our clouds. We'll then take a look at how to animate our sun, and then we'll look at animating our clouds before creating our very own time lapse that will add life to any static scene. To start with, let's add a sun and sky from our Corona toolbar. Click and drag to add that. And then over in the sun modifier, add a sky. Press 8 to find our Corona sky and M for the material editor. Drag and drop our sky onto the material editor and we can see we have cloud parameters. And when we click enable, as easy as that, we now have clouds in our sky. The amount will dictate the amount of clouds in the sky. So 1 will fill the sky with clouds and 0 will have no clouds in the sky. So I'm going to put this onto 0.65 so we have some clouds in the sky. Variety will randomly change the appearance of our clouds. And cirrus clouds are the type of clouds that are high up in the sky. So if we turn this up to 1, we can see the small patchy clouds we generally see high in the sky. Phase will make changes to the clouds over time, which can be used to create animations and time lapses. And we're going to take a look at this shortly. Seed will randomize the main clouds. Now the altitude controls where the clouds start, and this is measured from the ground. So just be sure that your cloud's altitude is higher than your sky's, or else you won't be able to see your clouds. And also be aware you won't be able to set your camera above the clouds and look down upon them because of the way the clouds are created. We also have the height, and turning this up will lead to heavier or thicker clouds. And lowering it is going to make the clouds lighter or more transparent. The offsets can be used to move the clouds around, and again these are useful for animating our clouds. And just before we look at creating and animating them, if we scroll down we can see we have contrails. And when we turn this on we can see we now have contrails in the sky. And if we turn up the plane count we can see more of them in the sky. And we can change the strength to make them more or less visible. The time is going to move the planes along their travel direction, and the distortion will control how much of the contrails are distorted. And as with the cloud position offsets, we can use these to move the contrails around. So let's take a look at creating an animated time lapse. So if our clouds are moving, then so is our sun. And we can always animate our sun by moving it across the sky with keyframes. But if we want a more accurate representation, then we can use the daylight system. So let's delete our Corona sun and we'll add the daylight system from Systems Daylight. And you can click no to this pop-up as we'll be using a Corona sun and sky. Click and drag to create the daylight system. And then head to the modifier tab where we're going to change the sunlight to a Corona sun. And we're going to deactivate the skylight if it's activated and add the Corona sky. Under position, we can click on setup to position our sun based on a date, time and location. And we're going to change the time to 4 AM. And if we know where north is in the scene, we can rotate our compass around to the correct spot. And I'm going to rotate ours so that our sun starts the day behind the mountains. Now if we jump back to our camera, as we change the hour, we can see the sun moves naturally across the sky. Also be aware that because this is a Corona sky, the position of the sun is going to affect the colours in the sky and also in the clouds, which we can see here. We can animate the sun moving with the keyframes, so before we start doing the animation, it's a good idea to change our default in-out tangents for new keys from auto to linear. And this will remove any easing in and out of our clouds. And let's change the number of frames to 150. And with our time slider on 0 and our time at 11, I'm going to turn on auto key and move our time slider to the last frame and change the hour to 1 PM. So let's open the material editor and the environment window, and we'll drag our sky onto our material editor and turn on the clouds. And let's change the amount to 0.75 so we can get some more clouds. And let's start by looking at the offset, which will move the clouds in either the X or the Y. And we can see in our top view that the camera is facing towards the Y. So if we change the offset in the Y to 500 meters, the clouds will move 500 meters away. And if we change it to -500, the clouds will come towards us. So let's turn on auto key and make sure we're at the end of our animation. And I had a little play and I found that minus 10,000 meters was a good speed for the clouds to move over the 3 hours. And Phase is going to make changes to the clouds over time. So let's animate it from 0 at 0 frames to 0.2 at the end of our animation. And if we want the clouds to change even more, then the variety is something that we can animate. So let's change that from 0.5 to 0.8 over the course of the day. And I'm going to put the Cirrus Clouds amount to 0 to turn off the Cirrus Clouds for this time lapse. And now we can unhide the rest of our scene and render the animation. And over here in Chaos Player, we can see we have a really nice time lapse. And if you want to find out how to use Chaos Player for compositing, color grading and editing, then check out this video. Or if you're new to Corona, check out how to get started in under 5 minutes.